Hey guys, welcome back to the Not Only Carrot Show here on YouTube. I'm Leah and today I'll be answering the question, how do I stop feeling hungry as a vegan? All right, let's get started. Okay guys, my number one tip is switch over to a whole food, plant-based diet. In our family, we eat a vast majority of our foods as whole foods, and that means if you're going to eat fruit, don't just go and eat some fruit roll-up that's like fruit mashed up with sugar and made into some stretchy thing. Just go and eat a banana, eat an apple, or eat a carrot if you're going to eat salad. Just try and have foods that are in their natural form, like olives and nuts and so on. Legumes like lentils and chickpeas, these sorts of things. These foods give your body sustaining power and they take a while for your body to digest, and that is what you need if you're feeling hungry. And that also includes going to a whole grain diet as well, switching out your white pasta and your white bread and switching over to stone ground whole wheat bread and eating things like rye, barley, quinoa, brown rice and so on. So yeah. Number one, switch over to a whole food plant-based diet. Okay, number two, if you take it out, you've got to put something back in. If you're switching over to a vegan plant-based diet, you're going to be taking out meat, eggs and dairy. And if you do what we did when we first switched over to a vegetarian diet, we got really hungry because we took the beef out of our stir fries and didn't put anything back in, and we were just hungry and it was just miserable because we were missing out on all that protein, because even though meat, eggs and dairy are not health foods, they certainly do have value in those foods. So switch out those beef meals for things like lentils. Lentils are a lovely meaty substitute. Or if you're going to be switching out for things that are more sort of party foods like chicken nuggets and hot dogs, you can actually find vegan substitutes for things like that as well. But don't get tricked into having too much of it, because generally they're not whole food and they therefore will not have that staying power of helping you to stay fuller for longer. But don't get tricked if you do see some vegan recipes. Sometimes they come up with like carrot dogs, so I'll boil a carrot and say therefore you can have that instead of a hot dog. Carrots are healthy, and I'm not saying that they're not, but they're not the same as eating a real hot dog. They do not have the same protein value and things like that. So you could still eat a carrot dog, but you'd probably have to eat like 7 or 8 of them to have the same value as a standard hot dog. So unless you're feeling like super keen on eating that many hot dogs, you might want to pass and just try and make one yourself. And my number 3 recommendation is to eat more food. Now this probably sounds like the great doors of history. If you're going to feel hungry, you've got to eat more food. But a lot of people see that they've filled up their plate with food and they've eaten it and they go, I'm still hungry. And somehow we think, oh, I've already eaten a plate, so I've had enough. But if you're not reaching your caloric needs for your day, you're going to feel hungry. And if you've seen the Game Changers, you'll know that for people who are working out a lot, they eat so much food on a plant-based diet because their caloric needs are really high. So even if you are just living an ordinary life and doing an ordinary amount of exercise, you're going to generally have to increase the amount of bulk in your diet. Even my kids, when people come over and see how much food my kids eat and they see how healthy they are and they're a healthy weight, they're shocked to think how much food they eat. But because calorically vegan food is quite low compared to meat, eggs and dairy, you can eat a lot more food and not be worried about putting on the weight. So check out your caloric needs and see if you are reaching those needs with your diet. And if you're not, if your vegan diet is not giving you enough, then you get to eat more food, and good for you. If you are struggling with keeping on the weight and you're getting below a healthy weight on your plant-based diet, look for high-calorie vegan foods like nuts and avocados. Check out high-calorie vegan foods on Google, and I'm sure a bunch of them will come up to help you out there. But most people it's the other way around. So enjoy eating more food and filling up for longer. And in our family, we are so satisfied on our plant-based diet that we get to eat breakfast, lunch and dinner and no snacks in between, and we just don't get hungry because we're eating generally that whole food plant-based diet, lots of bulk, and we're making sure if we're taking something out, we're putting something back in. I also wanted to mention I had friends who fall into that low calorie group that I was just mentioning before. They were vegan for a number of years and were losing a lot of weight and not putting it back on. And they just were not hitting the calorie needs every day. And sadly, they ended up giving up on their vegan diet and it was quite disappointing because they just needed to eat more of that whole grain food. If you are not hitting your caloric needs each day and you don't have that whole food plant-based diet there with including those legumes like I mentioned earlier, your body can become nutrient deficient, and perhaps you may need to go and see your physician, your doctor, and get a blood test and work out what to do. But it is very possible for the vast majority of people to overcome these things with a plant-based diet as long as you're being smart about it and just don't subsist off junk food. Okay guys, thank you so much for being with us today. I would love you to leave a message in the comments below, perhaps if you had a struggle, and tell me how you overcame it with your vegan diet, or if you've got a question, I'd love to answer those as well. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. All right, bye.